I'm going to go through a demonstration of how I processed the data that I captured on the Coma galaxy cluster. I captured RGB data on that, and this video will walk through how I processed that data. Before I go into that, I just wanted to show a couple slides on the process that most people take. This is not unique to me. This is a typical process. Astrophotography in general has many steps, some of which you'll see listed here. Of course, you've got to plan your session, then go out and capture your data and your calibration data, and then process that data. And processing the data is often broken down into two parts: pre-processing, which is where you're calibrating the data that you've collected, and then post-processing, which is really the refinement and drawing out as many details in the data as possible, as well as enriching the colors, the saturation, the sharpness, etc., things like that. And so this video is going to focus on this processing part. If we look at the pre-processing steps that is within this one box here, you'll see I have it listed down here. Again, this is a simplified version of what happens, but in general it captures the essence of the pre-processing portion of processing your data. And for the most part, this processing of the data is fairly routine, so much so that it can be automated. And in general, given the same set of data, one person versus another would end up with generally the same result. You start with creating your master calibration images. These are your darks, your flats, and bias frames, and combining them into master darks, master flats, and master bias frames. Once you have that, you use those calibration images to then calibrate your data. And in my case, I have red, green, and blue data. Once you've calibrated your image data, then you will need to cosmetically correct your images. Once you've completed correcting any of your images, then you go to align them all. And then once that's complete, you combine them into the master light frames. Once we have pre-processed our data, then it's all about post-processing. And this is really just the refinement of creating a really nice image, color image in this case. So one of the first things that you have to do is prepare the image to be combined, in my case, because I have red, green, and blue images that need to now be combined into a single image. And when they were aligned and stacked, they may not be exactly precisely the same. They may have black bars on the outside, so you have to crop them. It's not uncommon that sometimes they have different brightness levels, and so you want to match them to be a similar brightness level. And there's possibility that you will have background gradients that you want to eliminate. And this is a step that you can do to the individual master frames, or you might do that after they're combined, or you might do both, depending on the result. It's just something that you have to look at when you're going through it, and so we'll deal with that. Once you've prepared the images for combination, then it is all about combining them. There's several different ways depending on the data set you have. The one that I'll use is straightforward LRGB combination, or channel combination rather. But know that for other data, in case you did have hydrogen alpha data or other data that you wanted to blend in, there are blending techniques that people use, and I may cover in a future video. Once you've combined it, then it's all about enhancing that image, really getting a good color balance, sharpening things, get rid of noise, and then permanently stretching the data. And stretching is the process by which we go from linear data to nonlinear data. And once you've taken that step, then that is not reversible. Your data has been permanently altered. Following that, it's really about refinement. which is often called the dark art because it is completely dependent on the individual and their tastes for the image and what they like to see and what their how deep of colors and how much saturation they may or may not apply. Some people like very, very sharp images, some like softer, fuzzy images. It really depends on the individual, and there is no right or wrong way to process these images. It's really, truly an art form at that point. So we're going to take those steps. We're going to go through pre-processing and then post-processing, and hopefully you'll take something away from this. Thanks.